If you have ever felt like your Instagram Reels are just shouting into the void, you need to start using the experimental playground that is Trial Reels. I have been testing these for a long time, and I will be totally honest with you, half of the stuff I put out is absolute garbage with zero traction. However, after a lot of trial and error, I finally discovered a repeatable, reliable playbook that actually gets real engagement and followers. In this guide, I am going to walk you through my exact step-by-step process, show you real examples, and share a time-saving hack using Vizard that will keep you from losing your mind. First, we have to understand what Instagram is actually doing behind the scenes with a trial reel. When you post a trial reel, Instagram is primarily pushing it to people who do not follow you yet and keeping it off your main profile grid. Think of it like an audition stage where the algorithm tests your content to see if it resonates with a broader, colder audience. Because of this, you cannot just copy and paste the same logic you use for your regular feed, because the audience behavior is completely different. The most important rule here is, do not immediately share a trial reel to your main feed, even if it starts doing well right out of the gate. Instead, I save every single reel I make as a draft, and then I use the duplicate function to create two identical versions. One copy is specifically for the trial experiment, and the other stays safe in my drafts, waiting to be posted to my main feed if the experiment succeeds. This workflow is a lifesaver because it prevents you from having to recreate content from scratch and allows you to manually promote your proven winners. So the workflow is simple. Create your reel, save it, duplicate it in the drafts menu, and then publish one to trials while keeping the other. Let that trials version run for a few days without touching it, and if it starts getting traction, that is your signal to post the duplicate to your main profile. This matters because you want to let the algorithm test your content without confusing your existing followers with stuff that might not stick. You are effectively building an audition stage for your content and only bringing your best performers onto the main stage. Now, let's talk about the actual code I cracked for making these work, which relies heavily on a mix of storytelling and absolute clarity. The reels that consistently win are short, punchy elevator pitches that tell a stranger exactly what they are going to get if they hit follow. Think of every single trial reel as a tiny advertisement that says, "Congratulations, you have found the account that does X, Y, and Z." You need to fill in that blank with something incredibly specific rather than something broad like, "I share fashion tips." For example, instead of just saying, "I share Amazon finds," you should say, "I am the small apartment stylist who lives in a tiny studio." That immediate specificity is the secret sauce that makes a brand new viewer think, "Oh, I definitely need to follow this account." Your structure should be simple. A hook for the first 4 seconds, a quick proof of value for the next 5 to 10 seconds, and a clear call to action. The call to action should be in your caption, but you should also include a subtle "follow for more" directly inside the video as well. Do not forget that on-screen text is absolutely huge for accessibility, especially for people who are scrolling through their feed with the sound turned off. Make sure you leave each block of text up on the screen long enough for someone to read it comfortably, which is usually about 4 or 5 seconds. Trending audio is definitely useful, but only use it if the mood of the music actually matches the energy of the content you are posting. When you are testing, you should aim for about 4 or 5 trial reels a day at the absolute maximum, so you do not burn yourself out. Spread your tests across different formats, like some POV posts, some vulnerability, some tips, and maybe even a tiny funny clip. Once you identify a format that actually works, do not reinvent the wheel. Just repeat that same concept and make slight variations. I once had a single reel go viral, so I made 6 variations of that same concept, and every single one of them performed significantly better. Also, please do not freak out when one fails, because remember, trials are literally just tests meant to provide data. The ultimate goal is a combination of quantity and strategy, not chasing the illusion of perfection on every single upload. In your caption, be incredibly explicit with your intent, like starting with "follow for more" if your primary goal is to grow your follower count. Use the caption space to clarify your personal vibe and your values, so people know exactly why they should stick around long term. Now we have to talk about tools, because doing all of this editing manually is honestly a recipe for total exhaustion. You can absolutely edit in Premiere or CapCut, but most of those tools take up too much time or do not solve the real problem, finding the viral moments. This is where I started using Vizard, and it has actually been a game changer for my workflow in a very non-salesy, practical way. Vizard auto-edits your long videos and scans them to surface the exact moments that are most likely to perform well as short, snappy clips. It also helps with auto-scheduling, so you can set your frequency once, and the system handles the posting across your various platforms. The content calendar feature is fantastic because it keeps everything in one place, so you can plan, swap, and publish without jumping between 5 apps. Compared to other workflows, Vizard ties all those gaps together by finding the moments, making short ready clips, and managing the schedule simultaneously. This is crucial when you are testing many trial reels at once and need to scale your duplicate and iterate tactic as efficiently as possible. Here is how I use it. I let my trial reels run for 24 to 72 hours, and if something snags attention, I immediately post the duplicate to my main feed. If I'm starting from a long podcast or a live stream, I just drop the file into Vizard, let it generate the clips, and pick my favorites. It is significantly faster than editing dozens of tiny videos manually, and it helps you maintain the experimental velocity you need to find a hit. So here is your assignment for today. Create 3 or 4 short trial reels that act as POV-style introductions for your account. Remember to use simple B-roll. Keep your on-screen text up for about 4 seconds, and always use trending audio if it fits the mood. Save everything as a draft, duplicate the file, and then let those trials run for a few days to see what gets some traction. If you are working off long-form content, please do yourself a favor and drop it into Vizard to let it auto-generate your best clip candidates. Final thoughts: trial reels are a gift, not something to overcomplicate. So just use them to test, save your drafts, and repeat what works. Do the experiments, find the patterns that actually hook strangers, and scale those formats until you are seeing real, consistent growth. Try this process for a week, and I promise, if you find the right hook and use tools to speed up the work, you are going to see a massive difference. If you try any of these scripts or use Vizard to speed things up, leave a comment and let me know exactly which hook worked for you. You have totally got this, so go out there, start experimenting, and start building the audience you have always wanted.